Hello and welcome back to Crypto Saving Experts, where we talk about the latest cryptocurrency news and take a look at the markets so that we all know exactly what is happening. Today we are talking about Gary Gensler and the SEC losing that lawsuit against GRAYSCALE. We'll also take a look at the future of the SEC. Could Gary Gensler be removed? And we'll take a look at what else is going on in the cryptocurrency markets. It's exciting times right now. I'm happy to say the markets have moved to the upside. We've been doing these live streams every single weekday since November last year, and the last two or three months we've been coming down here every single day saying, look, the price is not moving. So I'm very, very happy to see that the price has moved to the upside today. Let's take a look at that today. So we have Bitcoin up 5.6% within the last 24 hours and Ethereum up 4.3% within the last 24 hours. Very, very nice to see here. We can see some of the altcoins have performed well as well. We've got Doge up 4.1%, Solana up 6.37%, and Ton up 14% there as well. So biggest gainers we're seeing Stacks up there, Bitcoin Cash is up there, Bitcoin Cash up 14.7%. Very nice to see green on the screens this morning, something we haven't seen in a very long time. I'm very excited to see what's happening here and what else we have seen today and yesterday is that CME gap. Oh, it's not logged me out of TradingView again, has it? Let's see if we can pull this up. There we go. That CME gap on the Bitcoin chart has been closed here as well. Thanks to this move to the upside here. So you can see we had a CME gap up at $27,500, and we have absolutely filled that. We've traded within that range once again. So now we only have a CME gap down at $20,000 and up $35,000. But which one will we fill next? That is the question. Let's see what's going on in the chat this morning. Good morning to everybody there. Thank you very much for transitioning over on that little technical difficulty we had this morning. Early today. We are early today. We've got lots to do at Crypto Saving Experts today, so I thought we'd get the stream out the way and then we can crack on with some exciting stuff. We've got really exciting stuff coming very, very soon. I don't know how much information has been let out yet, so I'm trying to keep my mouth closed about this. But just be prepared. Go to cryptosavingexpert.com, sign up, and get yourself enrolled on that so you'll get the newsletters as soon as they go live and you'll hear what's happening next. Let's take a look at this. Oh, before I forget also, please don't forget to like today's stream, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, all of that good stuff. Let's see what's going on in the cryptocurrency news here today. So the spot Bitcoin ETFs by BlackRock, Bitwise, and others approach their first review deadline. We did discuss this yesterday, but the big news of the day is that GRAYSCALE won the lawsuit against the SEC. So GRAYSCALE have been trying to convert the GRAYSCALE Bitcoin Trust, GBTC, into a spot Bitcoin ETF for years now. And the SEC have been saying, no, you can't do that. And they've been saying, no, without any real clarity. And I mean, that's what we all know the SEC for in the cryptocurrency space. They're not very good at giving clarity as to how they're regulating assets or regulating ETFs. So we've seen in the first problem, we've seen with the difference between securities and commodities, the SEC aren't clear on how they want to regulate the cryptocurrency space. They just seem to be having a pistol and shooting down the entire cryptocurrency industry in the US. So we've been complaining as a cryptocurrency industry about how the SEC can't provide clarity on any of their regulation, and they're targeting the space without providing any clarity. And in the last 2 months, we've seen two big wins. We've seen, first of all, XRP winning court against the SEC, with the courts going on XRP's side saying, look, it's not a security. And the main reason that was such a good court case for the cryptocurrency space was that it shows the SEC's regulation isn't clear. And there's some discrepancy there, and there's some subjectiveness there. So the SEC can look at their rules and say, yeah, we believe XRP is a security, and then the courts and Ripple can look at it and go, actually, we believe it's a commodity, and that's up for debate there. Or sorry, it's not a security. So that's up for debate there, and that just shows the SEC hasn't been clear, hasn't been transparent, and the regulation isn't there to allow the cryptocurrency industry to grow. There's no guidelines for the cryptocurrency space. It's just try your best, and the SEC will probably attack you at some point. So since that court case with XRP, we've shown that, yeah, the cryptocurrency industry has been right. The SEC haven't been able to give transparent guidelines to grow as an industry, and now we're seeing it again. So we've seen Grayscale applying for spot Bitcoin ETFs over and over again, and the SEC have been saying, no, it doesn't work, you can't do that, rejection, and now we're seeing the courts ruling and the lawsuit ending in favour of Grayscale. Now this is because the avenue they've gone down is because they've said GBTC is not substantially different to other products that you're accepting, and there's a rule there that if they're very similar, then the same rules need to apply, essentially. But we'll take a look at this article and it'll explain it a little bit better than I just did. So let's take a look at this. The District of Columbia Court of Appeals has sided with Grayscale. So they first applied for their GBTC closed-end fund to be converted to an ETF in October 2021. The SEC rejected it, citing that the application failed to answer questions regarding the prevention of market manipulation, amongst other concerns. And the appeal requested the US Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit review the rejection. And now we have seen Grayscale lose that lawsuit. So what happens now is Grayscale needs to so the SEC need to re-review the Grayscale ETF application. Now, I have read somewhere that this could take 240 days. Because they've now won this lawsuit, they may need to reapply so that the SEC can re-review that application, and that gives the SEC another 240-day window to decide whether to accept or reject this ETF. But it's definitely a move in the right direction, and 240 days from today, it's still just before that Bitcoin ETF, I believe. Let's see what 240 days is from today. 240 days from today. Let's take a look at that. I've done 140, 240. That gets us to the 26th of April, 2024. If we actually take a look, this is funny here. If we take a look at the Bitcoin halving countdowns here, we've got a countdown somewhere here. Let's see this one here. We can see, last time I checked, this was looking at the 26th of April 2024. Let's see if we can get a specific date on this. It's looking right now that it is going to be, have they got the actual date written down here somewhere? So it's every 210,000 blocks, and that fluctuates dependent because a block should be every 10 minutes. So the halving date ETA is the 16th of April 2024, and 240 days from today is the 26th of April 2024. We've also seen in this article here that all of these applications from BlackRock, VanEck, Wisdom Tree, Fidelity, they all have their final deadline in March next year, or around about March next year, the majority of them. So could we see a massive influx in spot Bitcoin ETFs just before the Bitcoin halving? This is what it's looking at like right now. We are all expecting these to get rejected, pushed back, and just for the SEC to stall this and kick the can down the road as much as possible. They've now lost that lawsuit against Grayscale, and it's positioning the cryptocurrency industry perfectly. If we take a look at the price of Bitcoin right now, it's logged me out, which is very frustrating. If we take a look at the price of Bitcoin right now, we can see we are currently trading at $27,500. We did get all the way up to $28,150 there. So a massive move. And also on this chart with Bitcoin USDT on Binance, we can actually see here that yes, we've broken that major level of support from these points here, but we haven't broken this level here. We have not broken that most recent low. So we are still creating higher highs and higher lows. Yes, it's marginally very, very close to not being so, but we have had a higher high every single high, and we've seen another higher low. So are we going to be able to maintain this? Are we going to see a nice move to the upside? Was this a big a bear trap when we broke through this level of support? Very interesting stuff right now. We'll analyze the price of Bitcoin fully at the end of today's stream, but just know things are heating up. Things are getting interesting. Bitcoin is up 5.6% within the last 24 hours. And we're seeing some positivity flood the markets once again. Now, the price of Bitcoin has been sideways here for a long time. And we've been saying here on the stream, the volumes are low. There's not much going on in the space. We're at the bottom of a bear market right now. we can't really expect some volatility in the markets until the news comes out. And we are on the edge of some really big news. And it could either be really bearish with the stuff to do with Evergrande and what's going on in the general economy, or it could be really, really bullish and we could see the Bitcoin ETF breakthrough. And it seems that the markets have gone in favor of the bulls. We've seen that positive news in terms of the GRAYSCALE lawsuits. So hopefully more good things to come within the next couple of months. But right now we've heard this news and now the markets have digested it. Where are the markets going to go? I think it's going to depend heavily on what happens in the US with interest rates and all of that stuff for the next 6 months. And then when we start to get back to that Bitcoin halving, I think that's when we're going to start seeing some excitement once again. But all in all, it's been a great 24 hours. Nobody can complain about this unless you're a big Bitcoin bear. And if you are, get off the stream. We don't want to see you here. Let's see what else is going on in the cryptocurrency news here today. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. We've seen GBTC, Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust, absolutely skyrocket within the last couple of hours. We did see a 17.6% increase. So what's actually happened here is Grayscale have been trying to transition GBTC into a Bitcoin ETF, but the SEC haven't allowed them. But GBTC is still a stock that is on the stock market that has a basket of Bitcoin behind it. So it technically, it is the same parcel as an ETF, as in they have the Bitcoin to back the asset. The stock has that value of the Bitcoin that they hold, but the price of the stock fluctuates differently. So it's not pegged one-to-one to the value of its assets. So what we've been seeing in the last year or so is that the price of the Bitcoin that Grayscale hold has been significantly more than the value of its stock. And we've seen that over and over again. We've seen it get as high as 50%, I believe. So we're seeing, for example, the GBTC might have 10 Bitcoin behind it, and the value of its stock, the market cap of its stock, is at 5. So you can see the massive discrepancy there, and people have been taking advantage of that in the last year in speculation that this exact thing would happen. And if GBTC does transfer into an ETF and shift, that means that gap gets closed and they get that significant win straight away. So that's a big win there for people that took the leap and got involved in that. It's very exciting. Obviously, Grayscale have not yet changed GBTC into an ETF. It's just a very big step in the right direction there. So make sure to check out this article if you want more information on that, but it's very, very good news. Let's take a look at the next article now. Let's move on slightly to what's going on with Gary Gensler. So, US Congressman Davidson has actually introduced a bill back in April 2017 to try and get Gary Gensler out of the SEC. Now, this bill was to try and remove having one central person at the top and having a chairman of the SEC, and instead he wanted a board of people. And he wants no former SEC chairman to be able to get into this board of people. And it would be more beneficial for the SEC and for the regulation in the US. And we can see back in April, he said, to correct a long series of abuses, I am introducing legislation that removes the chairman of the SEC and replaces the role with an executive director that reports to the board where authority resides. So we'd see a more of a voting system in the SEC, and we wouldn't see the problems we've seen within the last couple of months, which have been targeted towards the cryptocurrency space. So this is a really interesting proposal. We haven't heard much about this since April, but then yesterday we did hear off the back of the news with Grayscale, Senator Davidson say once again, fire Gary Gensler. This is the second legal loss in about 2 months. Gary Gensler's been targeting the cryptocurrency space, and we've been fighting back and we've been winning. So we've seen some really positive stuff about the cryptocurrency space within the last couple of months, and we've proven over and over again that the regulation that Gary Gensler says is clear and already exists does not exist and is not clear in terms of the XRP lawsuit. And we've seen once here again, they're trying to kick the can down the road on something that I believe is inevitable. Cryptocurrency adoption is something we are seeing worldwide, and what's happening in the US is just kicking that can down the road. They don't want to accept it yet, so they're going to have to deal with that problem later. They're losing that first mover advantage, and they're going to have to try and catch up with the rest of the world who are trying to adopt this technology and get on board with this. Let's take a look at what else is going on in the cryptocurrency space. So we have XApp, the former Twitter application, has been granted a license to provide cryptocurrency wallet services. So it now has legal clearance to offer a cryptocurrency wallet for the custody, transfer, and receipt of crypto, bringing X one step closer to Elon's vision of an app for everything. So Elon has called X the everything app. He wants to include everything on it, and to include everything, you need to have a payment system. Now, he has said that X would potentially be using Doge in the future. We all know Elon Musk is a huge Doge fan, and we are now seeing that they have got these licenses, so they are on the move to try and get this to fruition and actually bring that to life. Very exciting here, and could drive a huge amount of adoption for the cryptocurrency space, so definitely not something I'm against here. Looking forward to seeing how he can change this app and bring cryptocurrency to the masses, essentially. So he's tweeted here, buying Twitter is an accelerant to creating X, the everything app. And that was from October 2022. And now he's on that mission there. Let's continue on to the next article here. We have DCG reaches in principle agreement with Genesis creditors. So Genesis's creditors can choose to receive early payments or go with the initial distribution plan. Genesis is the company that had that Gemini, the cryptocurrency exchange, lent a huge amount of money to prior to Genesis filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. DCG is Genesis's parent company. We've seen a lot of public notices about this and public debates and threats from the Gemini twins towards Genesis to try and get this sorted out. It hasn't been an easy road, but they're coming to some decisions here and starting to move forwards. Let's see what the final article of the day is. The SEC is going after NFT projects. They just don't seem to stop. They're fighting a losing battle here. I mean, sometimes I come on these live streams and I think I sound like I'm anti-regulation. I am not anti-regulation. I just want regulation that is clear. If you create guidelines for the cryptocurrency industry to abide by, and which still allow the cryptocurrency industry to grow, we will abide by them. The problem that we have isn't that we are trying to ignore the regulation, it's that the regulation does not exist in a clear way that we can follow. We saw the DXDY founder say just yesterday or the day before that if you are a cryptocurrency company and you're trying to build in the US from scratch, don't bother. Go offshore, build your project, build a foundation, and then try and tackle the problems in the US, because the smaller companies just have no chance here in the US, and we need to try and build the cryptocurrency space, but the US is just not making it possible. And until the SEC come out with some guidelines for the cryptocurrency industry to follow, it's very, very difficult to continue here. And as I said, the US may lack on the adoption as a result of this, and this is something that I believe they're going to regret later. So we can see here the SEC have said that they are fighting against NFTs. So the SEC today charged Impact Theory LLC, a media and entertainment company headquarters in Los Angeles, with conducting an unregistered offering of crypto asset securities in the form of portrait NFTs. So again, we're coming back to the Howey test, the test to determine whether an asset is a security or a commodity. As the cryptocurrency industry has pointed out one too many times now, the Howey test is not clear. It was created in 1946. And we can't use that to determine whether a digital asset is a commodity or a security. The SEC are continuing to try to. This is the debate that we've seen with Ripple and the SEC, a debate in which the SEC lost in court about just a couple of weeks ago, but they're still fighting that fight, seeing what they can do here. Pretty interesting stuff. It'd be interesting to see if Gary Gensler goes out of the SEC, if Representative Davidson gets his way and gets to get Gary Gensler out of the SEC. I imagine the markets would go crazy at that news. We'd be on a live stream straight away. Let's see what's going on here. BetaBot said the issue is that the US don't have the power because crypto is not USD and other part of the world is not relying on USD anymore. Yeah, we did see BRICS officially move away from the US dollar for international payments last week. So we're seeing a massive shift in the general economy, and that is something that I believe is changing the landscape for the cryptocurrency space, and that is something that is making it a little bit uncertain right now. We can't say that's 100% positive right now, Because I'm looking at that and I'm saying there's a lot of uncertainty in the world. So either this uncertainty around fiat currencies is going to massively push the price of Bitcoin, or we're going to see an initial shock. And that initial shock could negatively impact the price of Bitcoin. I personally am always bullish long term, but I'm just aware right now that we could see some uncertainty back like when we saw it in 2020, when the COVID crash occurred. We saw Bitcoin dump all the way from $10,550 to $3,780. And then within a couple of weeks, we were back up at that higher range. But that initial shock is something that I am cautious about right now. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just cautious about that because the general economy, what's going on with BRICS, moving away from the US dollar, with Evergrande in China. There's a lot of fear right now, and yes, it might position the cryptocurrency industry perfectly. The uncertainty in fiat currencies might push people to Bitcoin. Printing money might push people to Bitcoin, but we need to be aware that there may be some shocks along the road as well. And it might not be as an easy road as we'd hoped for. Let's take a look at what's going on here, though. So we can see on the 4-hour chart, we've seen a massive move to the upside. There's not much to analyze here. We've seen a nice big green candle. Are we going to hold this level? I believe right now, we could be in for some more sideways action. The news has come out. The news has sunk in. We've managed to hold this level now. I see this over and over again. We've been saying in the last couple of months, the trading volumes are low. There's no reason for us to have another move to the downside or have another move to the upside right now. We may see some fluctuations as markets open all across the world in those time frames. But right now, I'd be interested to see if we could have any more upside potential, downside potential. I am expecting some more sideways action here. If we take a look at the MACD, obviously nothing is financial advice, but let's go through the indicators and see what's going on here. BetaBot said in Canada it's 5 a.m. right now. I think we've had about 4 people from Canada this morning. Thank you very much, everybody from Canada. Let's see what's going on here. On the daily chart, obviously the RSI is going to look very, very strong and volatile because of that strong move to the upside yesterday. So let's take a look at this. The RSI is currently neutral. It has come back in from the oversold range. MACD is currently looking like we have some growing bullish momentum on the daily chart. If you take a look at the 4-hour chart, RSI is looking like it could be overbought, and the MACD is showing weakening bullish momentum, but still bullish nevertheless. Let's take a look at the smaller time frames here. Let's take a look at the 15-minute time frame. Neutral. So MACD basically at 50, MACD basically at 0, RSI basically at 50. We've seen some sideways action now that news has settled into the markets. Volumes have dropped off here as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if we just stick at this range. And I think this is something we're going to see for the cryptocurrency space for a while. At this point in time, everybody that's going to leave the cryptocurrency space before the next bull run, I believe, has left. I feel like we've hit that point in the markets right now where the whole space just feels empty. And at this point, if you've stuck around through the terrible times of 2022, and now we're here in August 2023, and we all know that Bitcoin halving is coming in April 2024, I feel like everybody here in this live stream knows that we're holding on for something special. We're not just here because we like the prices down at $27,000. So with that in mind, I think the trading volumes are low. People are trying to stack right now. People aren't trading with huge amounts of leverage. So with that, we're just sitting at these prices. News comes out, we'll go up, we'll go down, and then we'll sit at that price. Then more news will come out, we'll go up, they'll down, then we'll sit at that price. And I think we've got that for the next couple of months. We do have September just around the corner. How many days are in August? January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. 31 days in August. So we've got one more day in August. So on Friday, the 1st of September, we could see some negativity we've been seeing in the last couple of streams. We did discuss this yesterday. September is known for being a bearish period for Bitcoin. On average, Bitcoin drops around 9% in September from its history there. Could this be different? I wouldn't expect it to be, unless some really positive news comes out. I like to follow the trends. So September may be a little bit doom and gloom. We might be coming back onto these streams and saying another red day. But overall, positivity is going to come that because Q4 is typically bullish. So maybe we've got some more buying potential, more buy zones potential within September before we see a nice move in Q4. Potentially. We'll see, but we're on for some exciting stuff, and every single day we are getting closer and closer to that Bitcoin halving. So that is what I'm looking forward to. But that is all we have for today's stream. So thank you very much for tuning in. As always, I hope you have enjoyed. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button and all that good stuff. And I will see you all back here tomorrow.